It's the 10 to 1 podcast with your host, Brad Oman, featuring Ben Konowitz and Nate Loucks. And here's the podcast.
Hello, friends. We're back. After a 1-week break, we've decided to come back for another episode.
We're here.
Brad, that sounded very much like a ghost.
I mean, Don Pardo is technically a ghost.
Oh,
so,
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Kiss the sky.
R.I.P. Donnie P.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a very echoey voice. What can I say?
Guys, are you ready to talk about Timothée Chalamet?
Timmy C.
Timmy C?
How old is Timothée Chalamet?
14.
I'm going to bet that Timmy C is 25.
But he's got that baby face.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we'll talk about that, but I was
why?
just thinking that, well...
Oh, sorry.
He's doing the album with Babyface.
Kenneth Babyface Edmonds is Timothée Chalamet.
Is
How
he
old is he, Nate?
Hold on, I'm looking it up.
Wow.
23.
Google's not working too fast, I guess.
That's my guess. It's 23.
He is going to be 28 in December.
Wow.
Holy shit, he really does have a baby face.
Damn.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
He looks like a young buck.
All right.
Yeah.
But I was glad to have Timothée Chalamet back. He had this is his second episode, I believe.
It is, yeah. He hosted a couple of years ago, and he hosted like a holiday episode. There was a lot of Christmas sketches in that episode he hosted. I don't know if it was the Christmas episode, but it was definitely in December.
No, but I'm okay with lots of holiday sketches throughout the whole month.
Oh, of course.
I know you are, Nate. We know.
I do love you some holidays.
I love Timothée Chalamet on the show. I think that he gets it.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this podcast, you know that we really respect hosts that put themselves out there and go against type. Will do whatever the show requires of them.
Yeah.
He fits that bill, and then some. He will do anything.
Yeah,
he wants to have fun.
Yeah,
right?
he has a lot of fun. He has like the right kind of energy for this particular cast too. I feel like, because like first time he hosted, he vibed really well with Pete Davidson. Him and Pete were like buddies that entire episode.
I missed Pete Davidson. I honestly hoped he was going to come back just for that.
You know, I'm fine with it.
tattoo.
I'm fine with it.
I loved that sketch.
I'm still mad about his hosting episode. I thought it was bad.
Okay,
I don't know if I'll be mad about it, but yeah.
I've not slept since.
Wow. Well, that's probably for other reasons.
It's a sad day here at it's a sad cast.
I'm in a happy relationship.
Okay, everybody else is too. Everybody else is too with the Lord.
Oh, you're definitely not. But yeah, so Timothée Chalamet hosted this episode of season 49 of Saturday Night Live. This is the fifth episode. And this one was exciting because the actor strike recently finally came to an end. So we had a host who was actually able to technically promote and talk about their upcoming movies.
But it only came to an end like 2 days before, right? So it wasn't like they had all week to prepare. Like, because we talked about this, I think the last episode of the 10 to 1. Is he going to do like a Wonka thing?
Yeah.
Right.
And so technically he could have, but they would have had to turn it so quickly.
So let's jump right into we'll do the cold open, and then we can talk about his monologue, because that's kind of what I want to get into.
That is the format of the show.
No, but I mean, let's just get through the cold open so we can get to the monologue.
Okay. The Republican debate cold open.
Okay, and that's enough about that.
No, I got some things to say about this one. James Austin
Me
Johnson
too, actually.
portrays
I do too. I'm not
Donald Trump, who rates and discusses the Republican presidential candidates. Chris Christie, played by Molly Carney. Nikki Haley, played by Heidi Gardner. Ron DeSantis, played by writer and Please Don't Destroy member John Higgins, who got into a regular sketch. Vivek Ramaswamy, played by Ego Nwodim.
Ego Wodum.
Sorry.
Wow,
And-
he corrected us. He even got it wrong.
So I listened to Daryl Hammond say it, and it's very clearly Wodum now, but it was.
I still think he changed it on
He changed
us.
it. I know he did.
And Tim Scott, played by Devin Walker, who does a great Tim Scott impression, by the way. I don't think people really appreciate that.
Oh
That was
no,
really
I
good.
love
The
Tim
skit
Scott,
also includes
so.
Kenan Thompson in the role of Lester Holt. So a couple comments from me on this one. We don't often love the political cold opens, and they've not been very good. They're often just paint by numbers, put James Austin Johnson in there, do a Trump. He's got a great Trump. What I loved about this one was kind of like sometimes when they did some Hillary stuff before, where like a dream suite sequence, they added a different element to this cold open, this political sketch where Trump comes in, they're frozen, the other candidates are frozen in time, and Trump comments on it. I also love the self-deprecating, like Ego Wodum is playing Vivek Ramaswamy, you know.
She's not happy about
it. Ron DeSantis is trying to figure out who this, you know, like,
wow, they would have
making fun of themselves as well.
What did he say? They would have normally brought in somebody like
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd.
Yep. And so let me give him this. This was one of the better ones I think they've done in the last many months.
I will agree only because it really didn't go on too long either. Like normally a political goal, but what, like 15 minutes? I swear to God.
But I feel like that's also because maybe it didn't feel as long because part of it was decent. Because I do agree with you, Nate. Is even though I was frustrated at first, I was like, oh, cool, they shoehorned Trump into a debate that he wasn't actually at. I did like the meta commentary on who they cast in certain roles and saying like not even SNL has faith that these people are going to be around for a while,
Yep.
And so that I did appreciate that element and I like that. But again, I think that they still have a problem with they don't really know how to lampoon this like parade of idiots, because you have them trying to make jokes out of the stuff that actually happened during the debate,
but they just end up saying the thing that they said.
Like the thing with Nikki Haley saying take my daughter's name out of your voice, and it's like, well, that was almost a thing. It's like, yeah, but that was funny on its own because she sounds like an insane person when she says it. So they're not doing anything to like make the jokes better. They're just kind of like doing a greatest hits reel of what happened.
Yeah, I think they would have done better to point out some of the stuff that's happening kind of in the metacultural commentary. I don't know if you guys have followed this conspiracy theory that Ron DeSantis is wearing like lifts in his shoes.
Oh yeah, of course, because he definitely is.
Yeah,
that's not necessarily a conspiracy theory. Those things are lifts.
Yeah,
that's a better thing to kind
of. Have you seen the heels on his boots too? Jesus Christ!
So you could have done something with that. That would have made me a lot.
Yeah.
That would have made me love it actually, but. I thought it was good because we've been very critical.
You know what it would have been, honestly, just if it just would have been, it's Higgins, right?
Yeah, John Higgins.
John Higgins. Just Higgins on stilts. And they don't even mention it. They don't talk about it. Just put him in stilts. I would have thought that would have been hilarious.
Yep. That would have been great.
So yeah, better than usual.
I'll submit my writing packet next week, guys.
Better than usual. Still not great.
I want to give credit where credit is due.
I will also say
very critical.
Molly Carney and Ego Wodum. I mean, that's a lot of prosthetic and a lot of makeup just for that one. That's a lot. So hair and makeup was great.
And again, I know people probably don't know what Tim Scott sounds like. Devin Walker does a great.
Look it up. Devin Walker, great job, buddy.
Great, Tim Scott.
And evidently, he has a girlfriend, and they're very much in love.
Yeah, so that was funny because that was again part of the cultural meta commentary of Tim Scott, like Lindsey Graham, have been rumored to maybe not like women. They've never been married. They've never had girlfriends. They like publicly, and so all of a sudden,
lady killer Lindsey.
Yeah,
Graham,
all of a sudden. At the end of the debate, as the spouses come and join their candidates on the stage, all of a sudden Tim Scott's got this girl that goes up there, and everyone's like, "Who's this?" Right? And so he like soft launches his girlfriend.
Oh my God, I didn't know that part. Yeah, of it.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
And so there
I don't ever want to hear anybody say soft launch their girlfriend.
I mean, that's what it was.
Listen, Zuckerberg, calm down.
So it was like all of a sudden everyone's
girlfriend
going
2.0.
I got to tell you, my girlfriend gets real mad when I soft launch her.
All right, moving on. Monologue by Timothée Chalamet, written by Asha Ward, Punky Johnson, Marcelo Hernandez, and Will Steven. Making a triumphant comeback, heartthrob, just good-looking dude, Timothée Chalamet steals the spotlight and croons about the sheer joy of buzzing around town to hype up his numerous ventures now that the SAG-AFTRA strike has faded into oblivion. Joining the fun are Marcelo Hernandez, Punky Johnson, and Kenan Thompson, are all sporting baby faces that could make even the stoniest hearts like Brad melt.
No, it's not that I have a stony heart. It's a blood clots.
That's a condition.
So have you ever looked at the live feed that T-Mobile does?
I love them because I'm a geek about like how the show is made. I genuinely love it. Yeah.
So not only is it cool to see how they move sets and stuff around, this one was particularly fun. I happened to catch it accidentally live.
I didn't see this one though. No.
I happened to catch it accidentally live as it was happening on Twitter because that's where they keep the stream going.
I don't watch videos on Twitter on the SNL stuff.
It's called X.
I just feel like it's
called X.
It's like giving away the show.
I usually don't, and but I happened to catch it as I was scrolling, and I stopped because it was in between. It was while they were doing the credit sequence, and they were waiting for Timothée Chalamet to go on stage. So it was just a shot of him backstage at the door, and he's just dancing to the theme as going on, and so is whoever the stage director was, and there was some other woman who was also back there, and they're all just dancing, and he's waiting. And then you watch her like give him the cue, like she's saying it. She's like, and now like your host Timothée Chalamet, and she like points to the door, and he goes out. So it was pretty cool to see.
So him and he flies down the steps, using the handrails, and he's just so confident. And man, he just gets it right. I love.
Oh, trust me, he gets it.
Oh, I'm sure there's no problem. He and I have that same issue, right? Ladies, please, okay, line forms to the left. So it's one of those things where he's just oozes confidence, and I freaking love that kid.
It is kind of like a newer Justin Timberlake, right, on the show, where he just has the confidence to do it. He's willing to do whatever he can to make the show funny.
He's growing on me. I said originally that I'm not the biggest fan of his acting, but he's growing on me.
He's a great actor. I'm just against the overall hype train around him. Like that's the most annoying.
Why?
You hear it more than we do because you're in the film industry.
Why don't
but
you
yeah.
like him?
No, I like him. I don't like the hype train that surrounds him. Like I'm sick of just like everyone just like talking about him like he's the second coming. It's
But
like
you love Travis Kelce, and you can't stop talking about that.
What did you guys think of the song?
You think? I think that what happened was the babyface thing was planned, and the AI and like talking about that. But I think that because the writer's strike softened, they added the Wonka song.
Yeah,
It seemed like two different.
I thought the same
monologues.
thing because it seems like weird that they interrupt the Wonka thing for an entirely different vibe,
But they maybe thought the babyface thing was just too good to let go.
Yeah, especially because Chalamet is kind of known for at least before he was super famous for doing raps on YouTube and stuff like that. So I think that was like a fun thing to play.
Wait,
around with.
what?
You didn't know this?
No.
He has like raps that he's done on YouTube apparently.
Did you know this, man?
They're very nerdy. And
Yeah, it's very young Timothée
Yeah.
Chalamet, like when he was 14, 15,
something like
right?
that. Yeah,
Does he come from a family that's like in Hollywood? I know his sister's an actress.
I'm not sure
I
actually.
didn't know. Sometimes these families come from like their dads are like lighting directors or stuff like.
Yeah.
I know. I don't think he's
sure.
a director or anything.
But yeah, so like he does have like an affinity for hip hop, and I'm sure that was one of the things they wanted to play with this monologue. But yeah, the Wonka thing feels like a totally separate kind of thing.
I didn't mind it though.
No, it was
I
fun.
liked all of it. The song was great. The babyface.
I thought the
was
song-
great.
I'm not super impressed by his singing voice, which kind
No.
of makes me concerned for Wonka since it's a musical. But
Oh no, it's gonna be great.
well, I mean,
I
there's a lot
like
of
that they brought
effects and
Keenan
shit.
out at the end. Like you guys
That
did
was
the
my
Babyface
favorite
song,
part.
and
Yeah.
I have me
Yeah.
yeah, that was good.
because he's 63.
Moving on, Museum of Hip Hop panel written by Alex English, Will Steven, and Gary Richardson, featuring Nunya Business, played by Ego Wodum, and the A-list squad of Cornel West, played by Kenan Thompson, Mary J. Blige, played by Punky Johnson, and Rick Rubin, played by James Austin Johnson, and the unexpected rapper, played by Timothée Chalamet. Apparently, the rapper's sidekick, Guap Lord, played last time by Pete Davidson, is now in a Turkish prison. What did you guys think about this? You guys talked about this last episode, that you actually really liked the first iteration of this sketch.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh still. Like just the skeet. Oh,
What'd you think of this one?
Skirt.
Was it a worthy, sequel to it?
No, it was a good follow up. I liked the way that they varied up the panel of people that they had on a different kind of show about rap, and I liked that they played up, continuing the idea of like Chalamet being this white kid who puts on this SoundCloud rapper persona.
Who doesn't know who Biggie Smalls is?
Yeah, exactly. I particularly liked that they made a reference to just a super obscure cameo by Cornel West in Matrix Revolutions, which is a real thing, by
I
the way.
did not know that.
Yeah,
Yep.
Cornel West has a cameo in Matrix Revolutions, so the fact that they even reference that, I was like, that's fucking hilarious.
See, I thought he looked like somebody from.
Nope, he's
the
actually
Matrix
in it.
Revolutions. That's great.
Let me show my age now. I'm 42 years old, and I like rap quite a bit, but there are new rappers that I feel like this song, the thing that he was kind of parodying, is a fairly like.
Oh, it's all over.
Real.
It really is. And it really is all over SoundCloud and
Yep.
TikTok and all that.
And
stuff.
he's
Yeah.
right. Trillions of listeners. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't understand
Like
this.
Biggie Smalls sold 20 million. Oh, so he flopped. That's such a good line.
Yeah, I particularly like the ending too, where he like drops it and calls his mom, and he's
Yep.
like, "Yeah, I don't like the
I
Bronx."
don't like the Bronx.
And did you see Timothée Chalamet kind of smile when he said
Yeah.
that line? For some reason made him laugh.
Hair and makeup did a great job in the cold open, but then Rick Rubin's hair. Did you see on James
No.
Austin Johnson? It was like leaving his head.
Maybe
whole
that. Well, that might just be a Rick Rubin
He
trait.
was turning, and the wig was just constantly. The skull
I don't
cap
know
was
if you've seen
constantly
Rick
coming off.
Rubin's hair. It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No,
It's amazing to me that like a man who looks like that produces such incredible rap
God,
music.
he is a genius. That's
Seriously.
crazy. Yeah, no, I like that sketch a lot though. I thought that, especially when he spanks him, right? He's like, no, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
Like it's very good.
All right, moving on. The Woman in Me auditions. Allison Janney, played by Heidi Gardner. Timothée Chalamet, Natasha Lyonne. Julia Fox, all portrayed by Chloe Feynman. Kenan Thompson as Neil deGrasse Tyson. Timothée Chalamet as Martin Scorsese. Ego Wodum as Jada Pinkett Smith. Molly Carney as Kevin James. Michael Longfellow as Bill Hader, which I loved. Chloe Troast as Dame Maggie Smith. Sarah Sherman as John Mulaney. And Punky Johnson as Ice Spice. Read Britney Spears' new book, portrayed by Chloe Feynman. Have you read this book yet, Brad?
Absolutely. It was a real page turner. I got it right away. I just wanted to get in there. And
Would
just
you say
find
you
out.
were you second or were you first in Federline to get the book?
So this is a Chloe Feynman, like just like her doing her thing.
Yeah, this
right?
is like it's like a Chloe Feynman had her own variety show, basically.
Yeah.
Which I'm fine with. I love
It was like,
No.
Chloe, go do some impressions.
I love watching
I'm a
stuff.
sucker for whenever they do sketches like this, where it's just a cavalcade of celebrity impressions, especially when it's celebrity impressions they don't ever really get an opportunity to use on the show, you know?
They
Like,
usually
who's-
do it like auditioning for a certain role. Like so
Because who's using, Maggie Smith in a sketch these days? You know?
And then they get to have some fun, right? Who's a Bill Hader impression?
Michael Longfellow needs to bring that back because
That's
actually,
great.
if you look at the clothes that he was wearing, everything is exactly as Bill
Perfectly
Hader wears it.
for sure. They just probably pulled out some old wardrobe.
Sarah Sherman's John Mulaney.
God.
Man, that was great.
I used to do drugs.
Yeah.
God, she's so good.
But yeah, no, this was a lot of fun. I didn't think Timothée Chalamet's Scorsese was all that great.
I don't know why they did that, but why not?
I think they just it was something that
funny.
he did and they liked it. They're like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, sure.
Especially since he mentioned working with Scorsese on that commercial.
And I also do like when they have the actor that's hosting be portrayed by somebody different they do that a lot, obviously.
They did that on Timothée Chalamet's first one. That they did.
That's right.
They did the Dionne Warwick talk show, and Chloe Feynman was Timothée Chalamet, and Timothée
like,
Chalamet
I can't
was
read.
Harry Styles. Yeah.
But Ben, what did you think of Punky Johnson's Ice Spice?
So I don't know anything about Ice Spice, and was that a good impression? I don't know.
There's not really much to impersonate when it
Does
comes
she
to
say a
Ice
certain
Spice.
word?
Not really.
Like
as
at the
far as
end, she said "Brr" or merp or whatever the heck that was.
that's just like the rap stuff that like.
I'm old and white as well. I don't really understand.
Yeah, I mean it's I'm surprised they didn't have someone do her rap persona, because her rap voice is much more unique than her speaking voice. So I don't know why they did that. I also hated that they brought back Ego Odom's Jada Pinkett Smith, because I just don't care about it.
I'm just tired of that one.
Yeah, I'm just tired of her in general, not Ego, Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, well, that's a lot.
Sorry, just putting it out there. I thought this is the best that Chloe Feynman's Britney Spears has ever been, too, because previously they kind of relied on her doing the twirling and like the dancing from Instagram and stuff like that, which is great. But
You don't have a problem with that, Brad?
but it was the voice that really,
Which is great.
really stuck the landing this time. She was really good at the voice, especially she captured some like the more naturally nasally parts
Yeah,
of it,
she's got a little bit of also a little bit of a throat thing too that she does. It's subtle.
And these, the impressions always do grow and they get better, hopefully over time. But she really is talented, obviously.
It's good stuff. Overall, I thought it was pretty much as good as any other of these versions.
What's interesting, I don't think James Austin Johnson did anything in there, did he? And he's a clearly skilled impressionist.
Sure. Yeah.
And I don't think he did anything in there.
They're like, hey, we're all full up.
There's always a chance that he did stuff and it just didn't make the cut.
That's what I would love to see is did somebody do some other ones that just didn't make the cut, All right, moving on. Gym Call. 2 hapless gym employees brought to life by Timothée Chalamet and Mikey Day embark on a comical journey to assist a forgetful woman played by Heidi Gardner
So you said a word there.
in her desperate quest to locate her misplaced bag at the gym.
I feel like the only word there that maybe was a mistake. Did you say comical? Yeah, that's not funny.
Oh, but I didn't like this one.
This was terrible.
I don't think it was terrible. It was just a one-note joke that
That's exactly it.
didn't really go anywhere. And
Terrible.
Because I kind of liked
It was a dumb gym bro kind of like.
I liked seeing Timothée Chalamet and Mikey Day in these kind of roles.
You know what? You can say that. Show me a photo, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny.
But
that's
it felt,
exactly how funny the whole sketch was.
But it felt, honestly, it kind of felt like a sketch they would have done in the 90s.
Yeah, little Hans and Franz's, but
like Hans and Franz meets Night of the Roxbury kind of vibe.
I don't get it. I just don't understand why this.
It had no escalation.
Ben,
that was the problem.
I think it's because you probably at one point were like a gym bro, and so like maybe you have a personal affront by seeing this happen.
I'm Ben, not bro.
See, there we go.
It was not my favorite sketch of the night. I didn't think it was terrible, but I understand what you're saying.
One of the worst things I've seen in a while.
No,
there was
one of the worst things. You just watched Expendables 4 last
on
week.
SNL. On SNL, there was not one. Sorry, guys. There's not one redeeming thing about this sketch. In my opinion, it just really just did.
So he doesn't
work.
even like Heidi Gardner anymore.
Yeah, it was fine.
You heard it here first, Heidi.
I mean, they can't all be winners, guys. It's okay.
That's fine. You just be grumpy.
Now, last week I told you that I'm a big fan of Tiny Horse, the song that they did, and I was really excited.
not see this coming.
So excited that they brought it back for Giant Horse.
Did you think at all when they did the sci-fi thing, Brad, that
God,
it was going to
no.
no, right? There's
not
no
even
way.
Close.
Yeah.
No.
This is written by Stephen Castillo, who is a writer that was on when they did the original one.
He came back as a
He
guest
came
writer?
back.
Oh, nice.
Jake Nordwin and Dan Bulla. So this is, if you watched the first Timothée Chalamet episode, they did this song, and it was, I don't know if it was set years in the past, but essentially Timothée Chalamet owns this horse that he has to get rid of because they've got no money and stuff like this. And so they play on that, but it is one of the greatest like week-long set pieces. And I mean, the direction on this, the scale of this was incredible.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. They bring it back, but now not a tiny horse. It's a giant horse that turns back into a tiny horse. The song's there. For me, it's an earworm. I know you guys don't love the song as much as I do, but I just think it's hilarious. What did you guys think of this?
Yeah, I mean, the song is catchy in itself, but for whatever reason, when this sketch debuted in the episode originally, it was not one of my favorites of the night. I back when I had when I did every sketch in my reviews, I would break it down into
before you got lazy,
into the best, the average, and the worst. And it was at the top of the average pile. I was like, oh yeah, it was fine, but I didn't love it. It has grown on me a little bit, and it's memorable enough that where I didn't forget it, and it's mostly because the song is a real earworm. But I really like how they brought this back, because like you could have done a lazy version of this, but this is so completely different. You know, and sure, like the tone of the song is the same, but conceptually, it's this Terminator meets Return of the Jedi thing.
I really thought he was going to say like, I'm going to go see my father. Like that was the whole vibe was like, it's an old friend.
Yeah.
Like,
and then the horse basically turns out to be Darth Vader, and James Alton Johnson is the Emperor. And
yeah.
Who does a great villain, by the way.
Yeah.
He was doing great.
I'd cast him.
Is it like claymation? What are they
yeah,
doing with
it's
that?
a stop motion animated horse.
Yeah, and how
Stop motion animated horse.
cheesy it is, but how great it is. I love this, and it was a lot to pull off in a week.
I think it's the offset blinking.
Yeah,
because it doesn't blink uniformly, the horse.
Yeah, it makes it more quaint.
So freaking hilarious to me.
There he is, my tiny horse.
God. Yeah, it is an earworm. You're not wrong about that. Overall, I kept watching. I could not look away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so at the end of it, did I think, wow, what a great sketch? Not really.
Oh, I did.
But I thought it's just as surprising as the first one. And so that's why I liked it.
I guess for me, what makes this a great sketch is...
I apologize. I don't mean sorry. It's not an all-timer.
Yeah,
but
sure.
It was a very... I laughed. I thought it was very clever.
But the impressive parts of this for me are... So they already reused, right? So the Museum of Hip Hop panel, right, is a reused Timothée Chalamet bit that they've done before. And it's somewhat similar. It's an interview with Timothée Chalamet doing neo-rap kind of whatever crap that they do. This, though, like you said, when you started watching it, you didn't know where they were going.
Yeah.
And it was the scale was big. They had some good effects in there. And this is obviously a pre-tape. And so I love that they came up with a very out of left field concept for it.
Would you say out of this world?
Yeah, and built this back up. So I'm just really...
Shut up, Ben.
Come on!
I'm just really impressed with the concept behind this. They did a great job with it.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the things I will say right off the bat, even though it's a pre-tape, so they have multiple takes of this, you get to see that the SNL cast can act. Even in the silly premise, they're all in, and even like something like Bowen Yang, right? That's a very insane thing where he's a robot cyborg or whatever, but he plays it straight, and because that's where the comedy's going to come from. I really appreciate that about them. These people can act.
Yeah.
All right, moving on, the weekend update with Colin Jost and Michael Che. Ben, will you describe the breadometer for our listeners?
Very quickly, we do a breadometer, and it's the level of both seen, heard, and unseen and unheard interaction between Michael Che and Colin Jost, and kind of just the overall vibe. And it's a scale like Rotten Tomatoes of 1 to 100, and the closer to 100 is that it's like the best we've ever seen as far as...
I don't think we've ever had 100.
No, not at all. As far as their interaction, at least. And a 0 would be like they're not even in the same building. I will go out on a limb here and say this is a good 80 to 85. I think that they had a lot of interaction, more than normal, and without coming right out and interacting directly with one another, they had enough talking about the jokes that they were doing that I think Brad really liked this one.
All right, quick question. Where were we last week? I forget.
I think 70.
Yeah, I think it was like 65, 70, something like that.
I thought it was like 60.
Because that was 70, and I was close without going over, I believe.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with 79.
I'm going to say 80.
Yeah, it's more like 75.
I was closer.
We're
both over, but I was closer.
Because it was almost like a Blue Balls tease, because where like they would like have some chuckles like real quickly, and then like look at each other and give a little
side eye.
But that's what you love.
But there was never any real like
75.
There wasn't
proper interaction.
No, your Brad Oman was broken. It was so much more interaction than
also,
last week. It was so much more.
Also, the other problem is that this just was not a very good rendition of Weekend Update.
Yeah, the jokes weren't great.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like they're kind of in a rut. I don't know if they're just like on autopilot or like what it is, but there just wasn't that many good things.
You wonder because they're not the head writers of the show anymore. They used to be.
Yeah.
Are they working on other projects? Maybe like is their head elsewhere?
I thought the jokes were. I remember laughing pretty.
They were fine. They're not bad. But
yeah, it wasn't terrible, but I just feel like it's not as like good as it can be. Or as
you never had that like. Sometimes they'll put together 5 or 6 jokes that just hit every time, or they're referencing a picture, and it's just they're on it. They're just in the pocket.
They did.
I didn't feel like they were in the pocket.
They
really.
did have a Ron DeSantis photo, and they didn't say "seen here."
Yeah,
and that's a missed opportunity always.
Yeah,
right.
Yep, always do a scene here.
Yeah. Always go for it.
All right. There was one Weekend Update bit, your coworker who is extremely busy doing seemingly nothing, written by Kara O'Sullivan, Heidi Gardner, Allison Gates, and Jimmy Fowley. Your coworker, played by Heidi Gardner, is portrayed as extremely busy with seemingly no work to do. She visits the Weekend Update desk to discuss the tasks she has to complete. Do you guys know anybody like this that like they seem to always be busy, but you question like, but what are they really doing?
That's how I live my life. I'm constantly with paperwork in my hands. Everybody's like, "Oh, I assume you just came back from something very important." I'm like, "Yeah, nap."
That's the fucking truth.
I do have a burrito cell phone though. That's what Heidi Gardner and I share. So, of all the Weekend Update characters you could have, this is not the one I would choose.
Does your burrito phone have cilantro?
Oh, and you're gonna make fun of my. You know what?
You're laughing. That's
pretty
hilarious.
good. Yeah. Anyway,
what did you guys think of this?
So again, I would have preferred to see a lot of other things. I'm sure, even things that Heidi Gardner has done are better than this. I will say, they did escalate. The burrito cell phone is funny. I did laugh, and then when she starts throwing the food and Colin Joe's incredulity of the whole thing, it got funnier. For the first minute, tough.
Yeah, I appreciate the energy that she puts into it. It's a very dedicated character.
Always commits.
And there's the really good physical comedy and that kind of thing. But this, similarly to the Jim Call sketch, also felt kind of like a 90s Weekend Update character.
Well, she's done this before.
Yeah, no, and I think
she's done other characters somewhat similar to this.
I think at the time, I believe I said it reminded me of Andy Samberg's Kathy in a way.
Yeah,
and it really kind of I got that even more this time. I did like the throwing of the cell phones.
Yes,
I thought it was very funny.
Yes,
but yeah, I just don't really like this character very much, and not that I dislike it, because she is being funny as that character. But I just don't.
I wouldn't go so far to say this is a bad Weekend Update character, but I will say that they're not doing much with it that they could be. I guess. I don't know, because I love her commitment.
Yeah.
And I like her interaction with Colin. I just don't know that they've written enough good stuff in there to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes, like you said, the whole Weekend Update, because it was fine, right? Yeah. And there were some good parts to it. It wasn't just, a C level. There was some
okay.
good...
You know what? I'm going to say I still had a good time. Yes, if you're listening,
you didn't regret it?
Writers,
you didn't regret it?
I love you very much. You're going to have a great week next week. Jason Momoa is coming in. It's going to be awesome.
All right, moving on. Sleep paralysis. A woman played by Sarah Sherman goes to see a doctor, played by Bowen Yang, to address her continuous thoughts about Troye Sivan, depicted by Timothée Chalamet. I wonder if he's friends with Troye Sivan.
Hey, here's a question. Everyone, raise your hand if you knew who Troye Sivan before this sketch.
I did.
I paused it so I could look it up to make sure.
Let the record show that Nate is the only one raising his hand.
I'm pretty big into music.
I had no fucking idea who this guy was.
I paused it just to make sure it wasn't like a fake person that SNL was making up.
No, it's a real person. And fun fact, when
he's gay.
When Troye Sivan was a kid, he played young Wolverine in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for him.
So
he was kind of an acting savant?
I mean, he's a pretty big deal, guys. I mean, he's got like 15 million followers on Instagram. Savant? Like he's a big deal.
Soft sell burrito.
How long you been sitting on that one?
I just go now. No, yeah, apparently he's very popular, a very big internet personality, which is fine. I'm so out of touch with TikTok culture and Instagram culture. I played the Good Burger 2 trailer for my sister Kaylin, who is 23.
And she threw your phone.
No, and they love the original Good Burger. Her and her boyfriend Rye love Good Burger, and so I knew they would want to see the trailer. But there are people in the Good Burger 2 trailer that I have no fucking idea who are. There's a rapper named Young Gravy.
Oh yeah, Young Gravy.
Big ups.
Yeah,
big ups to Young Gravy.
And apparently he's a very popular rapper, and I was like, I don't know who the fuck this guy is.
Young Gravy.
I don't like him.
We are those. Get a better name.
Yeah, Jesus.
You know. Back in my day, it was Steely Dan. Now that is a name.
Oh, big old raccoons here.
You know, John Cougar Mellencamp. If it was going to be named after an animal, it was a cougar.
So the musical group for the night, Boy Genius, was also part of this sketch as well. Did you like this sketch? I mean, even though I knew who Troye Sivan was, it didn't really do much for me.
On not knowing, I guess it gave it an extra level of weird because I was like, okay, this is kind of odd. I did like the commentary on like what he was wearing and like the dancing. And
so what I really liked was Bo and Yang being like, "I'm gonna win Gay Doctor of the Year."
Yeah,
that was a great line. And then I do really enjoy when the musical guests, clearly they're not actors or actresses, and they decided to put them in a sketch, and they were just so happy to be there.
Yeah.
And so spinning around, and like the one was having such a hard time
getting
pulling down her pants
because she didn't want to pull down her underwear.
Exactly. And it was just freaking adorable. So for that alone, I was like, honestly, I kind of held my hand and I was just like, oh, good for you guys. Like, I love when SNL can do that kind of stuff. So that saved it for me, honestly, having the group come in and do that, because they just seemed like they really wanted to be in a sketch.
Yeah, but I do
think
that this was probably one of the worst sketches.
So yeah, which one was better? Which one was better, Jim Call or Sleep Paralysis?
This is 10 times better than Jim Call.
I don't know if I would say 10 times better, but it's
probably maybe a little better.
It's a little better. It's a little better.
I mean, they're both not great.
Yeah.
If the Jim Call was a 2, this is like a 6.
No, I wouldn't say it's that much better.
No.
All right, moving on.
If the Jim Call was a -2, this is like a 4.
Moving on. Please Don't Destroy film Jumper. We'll certainly have some things to say about this one. Martin, Ben, and John try to talk a guy, portrayed by Timothée Chalamet, out of jumping off a building when they find him on the edge. Brad, let's go to our extremely online expert of the show here. There's some people
extremely online expert.
The guy who just had no idea who Troye Sivan was.
Yeah, but there's some people upset about this sketch, right?
Before we get to that, let's just talk about our impression of the sketch. I thought this was pretty good. I didn't think that it was one of Please Don't Destroy's best. But I liked the premise. I liked how dumb the silly music was. I always loved the little quirks that they managed to come up with, like the idea of somebody thanking you for listening to their song.
And also it goes right from, you don't have to have thank you at the end of the song. Oh, I have another song. Thank you in advance.
Yeah.
Like that's really fun. And
I love that.
And it came right away.
Yeah. I love that kind of stuff.
And so and again, we're not comedy writers, but in comedy, you can have a choice there. Either that's going to be a callback, or you're going to do it right away. And why they chose to do it right away, it works, right? Yeah. I love that so much.
That's just their fast-paced, nature.
I really, really like that. Overall, a little on the weaker side of what they're capable of. Still funny, just not... I don't know. There was just something missing.
There was escalation, but not to the degree that they typically escalate things.
Right. So yeah, I guess. So to that end, the payoff of that he actually does kill himself because he's seen them do sketch comedy. A little weak on the.
I did like how quickly he's like, "Nah, I'm good." just jumping off. But so there is some controversy because there is a reference.
There's some controversy on the best joke in the whole damn thing.
There's some controversy due to the reference to Hamas because, as Timothée Chalamet's character says, his band's name is Hamas, and they're like, Hamas. He's like, it's pronounced Hamas, and so they're like, we can't say that we like a band called Hamas on Instagram, and so
which is a great joke.
It's a great joke, and a lot of people on the internet, where people are usually very level-headed and calm, are upset about this because they're like, "Wow, leave it to SNL to make light of a situation where kids and families and hundreds of people are being killed and making jokes about it."
And also, like people like calling out because
pro-Israeli fascist,
or like
the fact that Timothée Chalamet is dating a Zionist and like all this stupid bullshit.
And I think one of the Please Don't Destroy guys might be Jewish or something. It's
right.
like, Man, like you're tiptoeing on anti-Semitism here, people. Like,
yeah,
just
and so
like,
it's so.
I don't know that I think they're tap dancing on it, Nate. I don't know that they're tiptoeing.
Oh, they're stomping with cowboy boots.
I mean, it
and
was just
spurs.
ridiculous, right? It was ridiculous.
The Santos style
it's-
cowboy
So
boots.
the premise of this reference is the idea that this guy is so clueless to name his band after something that
That
is
you wouldn't want to name your band after.
that is topical and is in the news right now. It's something that is a very sensitive topic. It's kind of amusing in a way.
That's the joke, though.
Yeah, exactly. And while it might be a little ill-timed and tone-deaf to make this
I
joke
don't think
right
so.
now,
I don't think it is at all.
I don't think it is because
but
if
maybe you can make that argument.
yeah,
but
maybe if you want to be upset about something, that's what you could be upset about. But at the same time, that's what makes it more funny right now because he has no idea what's going on in the world around him.
I also saw that on these comments, it was they were like doing that, and then they're like, yeah, and about suicide, really? This is when I turn off SNL as being no longer funny. So then I went back and I found a Jack Handy sketch from Deep Memories where it was about a woodpecker, and the whole premise, it was from the 90s or the early 2000s, and it was like, my dad, there was this woodpecker outside of our home, blah, 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 and so he could never get rid of the woodpecker. So he killed himself. And it's like, yeah, they've been doing suicide jokes for 25 years. It's whatever.
And the thing is, too, is like there's nothing about this that is intended to make light of the situation
Of
where
course
people
not.
are dying. No more
Of
than
course not.
I said this in my review too on Slash Film. How many jokes are we making about World War II? You know, like how many times are there references that allude to things like that? Historical events where people died. You're not making fun of the fact that people died. You're not, like it's ridiculous to frame this joke in that context. And it's just the worst kind of reactive side of the internet, and I hate it.
I agree. Dumb internet.
I think it was in poor taste and they should all be fired.
Wow.
All right, moving on. Little Orphan Cassidy, written by Chloe Troast, a new cast member. By the way, did you watch the SNL put it out? I think with Verizon, I think is their partner, or T-Mobile. Yeah. And about her audition. Did you guys know? So they auditioned 5 people for the show last year, and 4 of them made it, and she wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, so she was one of the 4.
Yeah.
So she would have joined with.
Yeah, but she didn't make it.
Oh my God! So they just like next year, like, you know what? We made a mistake.
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, 4 is a lot of new cast members to bring in a new season.
That's
so.
really cool. I did not know that.
Well, and she's been doing stuff with Please Don't Destroy for like a little while.
Yeah, I think she's involved in that.
Yeah.
Comedy group. But.
So this sketch is great.
Yeah, let me move on real quick. So this is written by Chloe Troast, Streeter Seidel, and Mikey Day. In this sketch, an orphan played by Chloe Troast sings about and wonders about all of the various reasons why she can't get adopted. She's talking to the moon, played by Timothée Chalamet. The cast also includes Molly Carney as the head of the orphanage, Chloe Feynman as one of the other orphans, and Mikey Day as Troast's character's boyfriend. So let me say this. We've got a great vocalist on this cast.
Yes, we
she
do.
was killing it with some vocals.
Yeah, not only was her voice good as far as singing is concerned, but she also has a great way of doing hilarious singing as well. Like she has this
She's got a baritone.
yeah,
in
this
there.
deep, rich, really
Yeah.
funny baritone voice.
But
that
it's good.
Still sounds
Yeah.
good. But then there's moments where like she sounds like she's actually performing and singing
Yep.
in a stage production. She was
fantastic performance.
she was phenomenal.
It was Cecily Strong-esque. You remember whenever they
Yes.
need a good singer, they bring Cecily in, and we have that now, right?
Yeah.
We have
Oh
a
my
Chloe
God.
Troast now that can. I mean, she killed it in her vocals.
And the escalation of the song, they let it sit for so long about why she should. I'm on her side, right? We're all like, well, you should be adopted. This is weird. And then we find out she's 27, and that she's
26.
and 18 months.
in 18 months. I thought Timothée Chalamet was great in this too. I thought he was so great.
The way he has the kind of the straight moon part.
The straight moon part.
Where he's reacting as like, wait, what?
The old classic straight moon character.
Oh, I've been there.
But yeah, no, I
made famous by Smashing Pumpkins album.
Of course. You remember that album cover, Brad, or too young?
Jesus Christ.
He's too young.
No,
We're
of course
old.
I fucking know. I loved the sketch, and this we've seen Chloe Troast do a pretty good job so far as a featured player. She's had some bit parts. I think her biggest role was in the Bad Bunny sketch when Pedro Pascal came back as Marcelo Hernandez's mom.
Yep.
She was the girlfriend in that. But this man, she has a bright
carried
future.
it,
If this is what she can do, and
please.
Yeah, she's fantastic.
Music has been and is such an important part of SNL sketches, right? Having the ability to have vocalists that can sing and do all of that kind of stuff. I mean, think about monologues and different things like that. So it's good to have multi-talented cast members that can bring that element to the show.
I actually tend to get irrationally angry when I see somebody who is super funny, also really good at singing, because I wish that I was a lot better at singing, because I think that I would have more fun comedically if I were able to sing well and be funny, because it's a really good...
I mean,
let's work on the be funny part first, though.
Her vocals are she could do something with the vocals. I mean, they were incredible. I mean, she had some runs in there that were professional level-esque. So she has to have some kind of vocal training, I assume.
Yeah. But yeah, this was hilarious. I love the sketch.
Yep. Very good.
Last sketch of the night. Calm Sleep Story. Andrew DeSmukes and Punky Johnson, 2 recording employees, aren't enjoying the bedtime story that Timothée Chalamet reads. And then our friend, Ben's idol, Alec Baldwin, makes an appearance at the end of the sketch.
What?
So they...
What? Wait a minute. What?
It's not what you think. It's because you like shooting guns.
My God.
They soft launched Alec Baldwin back into SNL.
I have not shot guns in a while. I'm pretty rusty.
Pretty Rusty's your cowboy name.
No, Rust was the film, right? That was a joke.
No, it's fine.
Is that a Hamas level port take?
Yeah.
Cool.
So what did you guys think of this one? It is the last sketch of the night. I thought it was fine. I didn't love the Alec Baldwin part. I'm not mad at Alec Baldwin. I'm not.
I just don't know why.
That's what
it really did feel.
It really felt like. Obviously, Lauren's a very close friend of Alec. Alec's been on the show so many times.
Let's get Alec.
We might need him back for political season. We might need him for something.
Let's get him back.
We need to get him back on the show so that they talk about it now
if we do it late enough. All the old people will be asleep.
Not later. It did seem like wherever Alec Baldwin was, they brought him in on an overnight flight. Because I don't know if you saw, but he brought baggage with him right there on his face.
Wow. He's old. Okay.
No, but man, it was it looked like he had just gotten out of the makeup chair after they took prosthetics off of him, and there was still residue.
He's old,
but that's the worst I've ever seen.
We haven't seen him in 2 years.
Yeah. He's got some really prominent thick bags
he's going through
eyes.
a murder trial.
I'm pretty sure it's over.
I think
now.
He went through a murder trial.
And to be fair, I don't think the victim's family is blaming Baldwin on that. I think they're blaming.
They named him in the lawsuit.
No, I don't.
I think it was one of those things where it was because he's a producer on the movie.
Yeah, not because they think it's I think to get any kind of money or to get any kind of settlement, they have to
hold somebody responsible, and since he's one of the producers,
but not because whatever the nuances of that.
But anyway, it was so. This is kind of a recurring premise they've done where they had Owen Wilson do it with doing voiceover for Cars sequels. They've done one with a Street Fighter video game sound effects. They've done different sound booth premises like this where it's Andrew DeSmukes in the sound booth typically with somebody else and the host doing new recording of stuff. This was not one of the stronger ones.
And honestly, DeSmukes was a little off.
Well, no, here's the thing. I think something weird happened, and I don't know if they didn't realize that they were missing a cue card or that they or that they cut something and maybe didn't correct one of the lines, because there's a part in here where all of a sudden Chalamet says something about, you want me to do it louder? And it's no one said that. And then they went on as if that was supposed to do, because I was really confused. It's wait, why are you doing that all of a sudden?
That's a good point, Brad.
I didn't go back and watch it again, and I should have, because you're right. I didn't hear anybody ask for that.
Right, exactly. So I think that there was something
they cut out,
or maybe Chalamet got ahead of himself on the cue card or something.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know how you get that much ahead of yourself, because I think I've seen the cue cards.
If you skip a line or something,
maybe.
But yeah, it was. So I was that was weird, and it kind of threw the rhythm off.
Fair.
And
sorry, Andrew DeSmukes, I apologize.
Yeah, but
it probably wasn't your fault.
Chalamet played it pretty decently, and I do like when DeSmukes gets strange as this kind of character. But yeah, it was
you are the worst.
But yeah, it was kind of a miss. I think.
It was just okay.
Yeah.
Alec Baldwin did save it at the end, though. Okay.
All right, let's do our overall impression of this episode. What do you guys think? Good episode? Better than the first Timothée Chalamet?
Definitely not better than the first Timothée Chalamet. The first Timothée Chalamet was a very good episode. I used
good.
the word smashing in my review headline.
Smashing. This was very good, though. I had a good time.
I think it was solid. I think that it had some great highs, but there were some pretty disappointing lows. And I think it was a decent episode overall. Not the best episode of the season, but definitely right in the middle.
This is better than Pete Davidson.
I agree. I think it's better than the Pete Davidson episode. Not as good as the Bad Bunny episode.
What about, is it better than Nate Bargatze?
I think it's probably on par with Nate Bargatze. But the highs for this one might be higher than the highs of Nate Bargatze.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think
I'm giving MVP to Timothée Chalamet.
Well, no one asked you, so.
Okay.
We're going to do sketch of the night before we get to MVP.
I'm actually giving it to
Giant Horse?
Chloe Fineman.
Ooh.
Really?
Right.
Yeah. I was very impressed by her cavalcade of impressions of all sorts of people, including Sean.
I know who jumped ahead there, Nate. I'm sorry. But who's your MVP?
I'm done. My MVP was going to be, I thought, so I debated. I thought James Austin Johnson had actually a quietly really good, solid night. I thought it was one of his strongest Trump impressions he's done. He did the Rick Rubin stuff. But I'm actually going to give it to Chloe Troast because I thought she not only performed well, but she actually wrote that sketch. And she co-wrote it with Streeter Seidel and Mikey Day. I'm going to guess they were the senior writers because I've listened to a lot of the David Spade and Dana Carvey podcasts. And they talk about how oftentimes new writers or new cast members get paired up with some of the senior members when they have ideas, just to kind of help them structure the sketch. They're not necessarily writing the sketch, they're just helping them structure it. And I'm going to guess that's probably what happened here. This was a Chloe Troast idea. So you wrote a great sketch and you performed just excellently. So I'm going to give it to her because I just think that's a great night for her.
Yeah. I think that's a great pick. And actually, I will encourage you, if you haven't seen it, to go watch the video that Nate referenced earlier. It's a T-Mobile. It seems like it's a sponsored advertisement, but it's because T-Mobile is partnered with SNL. They do these cool behind-the-scenes videos and
almost weekly, I think.
Yeah,
right?
Interviews with cast members. And Chloe Troast did one recently where it's like a quick 2-minute thing where she's doing a rapid-fire interview, and you can see how quick-witted she is and how funny she is because she gives very funny answers to these questions, and she's obviously knows her way around writing quick, fast material. So if you haven't checked that out, I encourage you to look that up. It's very funny.
All right, sketch of the night.
After talking about that, my favorite sketch of the night was the Little Orphan sketch. That was the Annie
Little
Bird,
Orphan Cassidy.
Little Orphan Cassidy with Chloe Troast. That was my favorite sketch of the night. I thought it was original, hilarious, very well played, and just fantastic.
Agreed. It had the right escalation for me. It had an element of music that I always love. I thought it was the best sketch. What did you think?
I also agree.
I will
the escalation of again when you don't immediately start escalating, but then you finally do get there in a good the timetable was just a very well run sketch.
Yeah.
Second place for me was Giant Horse. It was a huge scale, wonderful idea to carry that song on to a different premise, but also connect it. So I thought that was very, very well done as well. But I thought the Chloe Troast stuff was just slightly better.
Heck yeah.
There you go.
All right. Well, that's the show for you. What do we got coming up?
We have another episode of Saturday Night Live in 1 week.
So we're not taking a week off.
We're not taking a week off.
How about 2 weeks?
Nope, just a single week. We have to wait until the next episode of Saturday Night Live.
So this will be the Thanksgiving episode.
Yes, it will be because the week after that would be Thanksgiving, and they're not doing a live episode that weekend.
So I hope there's some good. SNL has done some great.
I'd like to see a sketch with Jason Momoa and having Thanksgiving under the sea, like Aquaman. An Aquaman Thanksgiving dinner. Would you like to see this, Ben?
It's going to be Lisa from Tilapia.
Wow. That's actually pretty funny. And this will be the second time Jason Momoa has hosted. Last time he hosted when Aquaman was a big deal back in 2018. And Aquaman 2 is coming out.
Hey, some would say Aquaman's still a big deal.
In December. And so, he'll be back. Hopefully they'll have some fun with him. He's hilarious, and I hope that it's a good time.
I'm looking through some of the sketches that he was on before. It's maybe a little too early to do Christmas sketches, but it is around the holidays now, so they might be able to get away with some of them. But they did... Mikey Day was actually Donald Trump Jr., Alex Moffat was Eric Trump,
I miss Alex Moffat.
Yeah, I do too. They did an elf sketch. Do you remember the elf sketch that Jason Momoa was in?
Yeah,
with Beck Bennett, Mikey Day, Cecily Strong.
Yeah, he wants a new kid because his kids just started jerking off. And
Yeah.
so,
That's right.
That
that
was a really funny sketch.
They did. They also did this Game of Thrones sketch too, where Heidi Gardner was Brianna Tarth, Beck Bennett was Hodor, Aidy Bryant was Elena Torrell. He was in that one. They did Ebenezer Scrooge. Mikey Day was Ebenezer Scrooge, and I don't even know what he was in there actually. But he was in the sketch.
Probably one of the ghosts.
Yeah. So he was in a lot of those. I'm gonna actually try to rewatch that before next week and see if they're gonna bring any of those back.
Yeah,
And now that they're doing that a little bit with, at least with Chalamet, all right?
It doesn't sound promising because I don't remember much. From
Yeah,
the
there's
Jason
not.
Momoa
I mean, the elf
episode.
stuff was funny, but it's a little too early to do elf stuff.
Is it though?
I mean, for me, no. You could do it all year, and I'd be happy. Christmas stuff, but yeah, I'm looking through the sketches from that night. There was nothing that was
All-timer.
there was no tiny horse in there. No.
There was no tiny horse.
All right, there we go. Well, maybe it was a seahorse. We'll get.
Do we have anybody else announced or no?
No. I think this is the only one so far for.
And then we get to the Christmas episode
In November.
So freaking excited. We'll probably have 3 episodes in December.
I think so. Probably the safe bet.
Good deal.
First 3 weeks of December, we'll rock it out of there.
I
And
love it.
All right. Well, we have another podcast as well. If you, on the off weeks where we don't produce this podcast, you can listen to Go Flix Yourself, which is our movie podcast. We talk about movies and sometimes TV shows, things we're watching, things that we're reviewing, different trailers. If you like movies, if you like kind of just listening to us babble on about crap, you can listen to that. Go to goflixyourselfpod.com. But for this one, please do write a review for us. Give us a 5-star. Subscribe, share, send it to your mom.
Comment.
Introduce your mom to Ben.
Yeah, I'm looking.
ugh,
What?
you're gross.
All right.
Hey, it's been a lot of fun. We love this show. Contribute again online. Let us know who you are. We just love building the community around SNL. Hey, Brad.
Hey, well, yeah,
You're online at a couple places, right?
yeah. Sometimes.
Where can people find you?
Oh, you can catch my Saturday Night Live reviews every Sunday morning / early afternoon on slashfilm.com. You can also check me out at Ethan_Anderton on Twitter.
And Ben and I are places.
We're
So
also on the online.
yeah, we've found the
We
internet.
dabble.
Yeah, not as much as Brad, but we're still there. So you can find us as well. Hey, thanks so much for listening. We'll be back next week. Be good to yourself, be good to others. Bye-bye.